Welcome to another edition of the Random Campfire. This time wood turning, and we're going to be making a cheese board. For this we are going to require one oak plank and a marble disc. First part of the job is we need to turn that plank into a square. This required the use of a set square and trying to work out which side of the plank could be classified as being straight in the first place. As you can see, not using the guide rail on the bandsaw, just following the line. Next job, find the middle of the plank, therefore we can then set out the positioning of the cheese board within the square we've just created. So back to school, get those compasses out, time to draw some circles. Position 1, that's going to be the centre of our cheese board. Position 2 is a ring with a radius of about 5 mm short of the diameter of the actual cheese board insert. Position 3, the actual width of the cheese board insert. Position 4, that's where we want our cheese board to end up, being as an outer ring. Position 5 is a rough line around the outside that we're going to cut out using the bandsaw to make our circle. So let's do it. Now that we have a rough circle, we can fix the clamp to the centre so that we can attach what will be the upper face of the cheese board to the lathe. We've used this clamp before. Previously we used it to squeeze down on a piece of wood. This time we're using it to expand out and grip that ring. Once in position like this, we should spin it up and make sure that it spins evenly, and as it did, it's time to carefully make the outer ring. And there we have our circle cut back to somewhere between what was our ring 5 and our ring 4, leaving a little bit of room for tidying up later. Having completed making the outer ring, it's time to bring the rest round and work on what will become the base of the cheese board. This needs to be done carefully so that it becomes not convexed, otherwise it will rock on the table. To do this, we're going to use a rounded ended chisel that can be drawn across the wood. As you can see, we've now brought that down to a nice smooth finish for what will be our base. Next job is to make the corner. Now that we've roughed out the corner, rounding it nicely off, we need to cut a small insert into what will be the base. This is going to be used to grip on the clamp when we turn the board around for cutting the insert later. Now it is time to sand it all off and make it nice. As you can see from the top left, we used a variety of grades of sandpaper from the right coarsest all the way down to fine wire wool. This allows us to get a very smooth and even finish. For this project, I've decided to use some friction polish as a sealer for the wood. Gives it a nice colour. Basically all you need to do is you take some of the liquid polish and wipe it with a cloth all over the piece of timber. You then, using a piece of clean cloth, spin the piece up, press on it and allow heat and friction to create the polish. This was then repeated with a second coat, and it's now time to turn it all around. So we're now using that insert that we cut in the base to grip on the clamp. But before we remove the metal plate, it's always a good idea to spin it up and make sure that it's nicely balanced. Saves time having to put the plate back on again should you need to turn it back. Bringing the rest round again so it's just underneath what would have been your center lines. This will allow us to cut from the center all the way out cleanly. It's time to make a magic stick at this point. The deeper mark is the depth of the tile in total, and the shallower mark is the depth we want to go to so that the tile will sit proud at the end. So, having now cut the insert, all the way up to the inner of those two lines, remember the one that's actually about 5mm on the radius shorter, it's time to just check and make sure that we're happy that the disc is going to require the full distance. There we go, you can see the lines where we cut to. Fit as expected, and checked, and therefore we know that we need to take out that extra little bit. Go, perfect fit. You need it to be a nice tight fit so that we don't get dirt going down between the insert and the board. It always pays to stop a little short and ease it in rather than go for the full size. That way you can tailor it and adjust it as you go. Next job is, like we did with the base, is to round off the front edge on that corner. There we go. Nicely sanded off using the full grades of sandpaper as we did before, and it's now time, like before, to put friction polish on. We don't need to worry too much about the middle section, but I am going to coat it all the same. There we go, 2 coats of friction varnish put on, and it's all shined up beautifully. It's now time to actually put a food safe varnish on, and we're going to put 2 coats on. This is then left to dry overnight and another coat put on the next day. To fit the insert into the base, we're going to use white sealant and plenty of it. So first, a nice ring around the outside and across over the centre for it to act as a bond. Place the insert in and give it a good push down. This will squeeze sealant out through the sides, which will need to be cleaned off with a cloth and maybe a little bit of methylated spirits just to lift it off. The result is an insert which is bonded into the base with a beautiful white line around the outside to prevent crumbs going down inside, like this. So there you have it, the final product. Insert in place in the base, all ready for use. And if you've enjoyed yourself, like, share, tell your friends, and I'll see you next time.